I feel like I'm the last person to make a video on what's going on with War Thunder right now, but I've been getting a lot of comments about this, so here is that video. If you have a general idea of what's going on and want to hear someone's thoughts on the recent Gaijin post, I recommend you go watch Tim's Varieties video on it. Out of all the videos that I've seen on the post, I think that his is the most in-depth and gives one of the best perspectives on it. This video is going to be for the people that don't really know what's going on and why players have review bombed War Thunder now to an overwhelmingly negative review on Steam. Players have been complaining about the economy in War Thunder for a long time. When I started playing regularly in late 2019, people were already complaining that the repair costs were too high and rewards were too low. In late January last year, Gaijin held a vote to fundamentally change how the economy in War Thunder worked. Previously, the economy worked under a system called vehicle efficiency. You may know this as another term called battle activity. In the previous system, Gaijin would lower the repair costs and increase the rewards for vehicles that had bad battle activity, and they'd do the opposite for vehicles with high battle activity. This was done to incentivize players to play potentially worse vehicles that had worse stats, and it dissuaded players from just playing meta vehicles all the time. I made a video back then seen by over 50,000 people where I said that the potential change to a rank-based economy would screw everybody over and that people should focus on more than just the chant of lowered repair costs that everybody was focusing on at the time. When the vote was over, 76.7% of the player base voted to change to a rank-based economy where vehicles were balanced based on their placement in the tech tree instead of how well individual vehicles performed. In early February last year, shortly after the vote, Gaijin enacted Phase 1 of the shift to a rank-based economy, and the effects were immediately felt. For some lucky individuals, their favorite niche vehicle had its repair costs brought down to a more manageable level, but for everybody else, they felt the effects of lowered reward multipliers that I warned about. Many who had voted for the change to a rank-based economy were now calling for it to be rolled back. Talking to a few of those people, almost none of them had actually read the spreadsheet of the changes that Gaijin had put out, and they were all swept up in the call for lowered repair costs. Those complaints went on for a while, but eventually died out, and now, more than a year later, Gaijin has come back and tried to enact Phase 2 of the rank-based economy. Gaijin is trying to paint this as players rebelling against these specific set of changes that were just recently implemented, but if you look around, you'll quickly realize that this is just the straw that broke the camel's back. If you didn't see what the changes were for the day or so that they were implemented, I'll try to quickly summarize them. Tanks rank 4 and below had their repair costs lowered by 5 to 10%, whilst tanks ranked 5 and up had repair cost changes anywhere from a slight decrease to some tanks having more than double the repair costs. And across the board, all tanks had the rewards lowered by 10 to 30%. The changes for planes were a bit different. Prop planes generally got lowered repair costs and slightly higher rewards, which is good, but jets had the repair cost jacked up, with the average plane getting a repair cost over 40,000 Silver Lions, and the average jet reward went down, with some planes being singled out for drastically lowered rewards. This sparked immediate backlash, and in just one day, Gaijin had reverted those changes. This is when they released their first response, blaming the backlash on changes being poorly explained and not being transparent enough. Gaijin also opened a feedback forum that is still open until May 25th. If you leave a response, please be civil. Gaijin won't want to interact with the community that's just yelling at them every chance they get. Gaijin ended this first response with this paragraph. We have one common goal, to make War Thunder better and to make players happy and the game more popular. Therefore, we will do everything possible so that we understand and support each other on the way to this goal. Interjecting here, speaking directly to Gaijin, in case one of the employees sees this, I want the same thing. I think most players want the same thing. I just think that there's a fundamental lack of understanding each other going on here. This first response greatly missed the mark, and that's why you see the response that players had to this post, with the review bombing and organizing of a boycott that caught on so quickly and spread so far. I would truly like to believe that this last paragraph was written in good faith, but when you look at the second post that I'll cover later in this video, I'm not so sure. If Gaijin had come out and said that they heard the players wanting better rewards and lowered repair costs for a better free-to-play experience, and were taking some time to formulate those changes, I think that the player response would have been one of the best responses seen in the history of War Thunder, but that's not what happened. With the aside over, as I said, the player response to the first Gaijin response was to organize a boycott and review bomb the game. War Thunder is currently sitting at an overwhelmingly negative rating on Steam, and the international player base has chosen May 26th as the date of the boycott. The sizable War Thunder player population in China has chosen an even longer boycott that is supposed to last from June 1st to June 5th. In response to review bombing and talks of boycott, Gaijin's creative director Kirill Yudintsev released an article titled "How Progression and Economy is Built in Free-to-Play Games and War Thunder in particular." And this is when bad went to worse. Multiple other content creators have referred to this article as one of the most tone-deaf responses in the history of gaming. As I said earlier, if you want a detailed breakdown of this article, I highly recommend you go watch Tim's video on it. He does a better breakdown than I ever could. That article was released on Friday, May 19th. It is currently Monday, May 22nd, and the only updated response from Gaijin has been to remove the Steam logo from War Thunder's website. Not a very promising development if you ask me, but that's where we're at right now. When there's more developments, I'll release an update video. Personally, I want War Thunder to get better. I want to still be playing War Thunder in 2030, but that's not going to happen if Gaijin keeps ignoring the player base and making the economy worse for everybody. Gaijin should focus on expanding the player base, bring in new people, instead of squeezing the whales for as much money as they can get out of them.